All right, how's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Thursday, February 13th, 2025 is the date, 11:12 a.m. California time. Latest activity shows a 1.4 earthquake there across the oil fields of Texas. I got the green flag right there. Let's go ahead and check out the latest information here on the Santorini area, where we're still having some earthquake activity. Obviously, we got 1,396 earthquakes in the last few days. Got one coming in right now, it looks like. Far as the latest activity, shows a 2.8 up here around the northern edge of that clustering in the earthquake swarm. Far as anything overnight goes, let's go ahead and check out the USGS model. We'll zoom into this area. As far as larger activity, a couple fours this morning so far. 4-pointer and a 4.7, the latest quake. Been about 3 hours or so from that 4.7 to today, or from the time today. Things are still kicking up, although looking at the graph here, things are a little bit less active. Now, there could be a couple different reasons for that. Obviously, over the last 2 weeks, we've seen this seismograph station here, this recorded one, look crazy, right? If we just go back here last couple days, it's a cluster. So today, a little bit less active, although we're still seeing those larger events here. Now, that tells me that we're reaching a point here of pressurization underneath the area. Now, I don't think it's just right below the surface. I think it's down still somewhat deep here, according to these. If you look at the earthquake depths there, they're about 10 kilometers or so down below the area. But I feel as though the last couple weeks, pressurization going on here due to the influx of magma from below. We've reached a point of pressurization, maximum pressurization below the surface there, about 6-7 miles or so. And this could ultimately kick back up again in terms of a similar type swarm, where we may see a little period of continued quietness before an influx of further pressurization in the area. Similar to what we've seen in Iceland, but obviously two different types of boundaries there. Iceland, a continental rift zone, and this area, obviously, a number of submarine volcanoes out here. It's within, some of it within the Santorini area, the Colombo volcano, and northeastward. A lot of migration here southward towards the Santorini area in the last couple days. I don't think we've seen too much today. That was a few days ago. But, yeah, so even though we're looking at little pause right now, these larger quakes that tend to kick up here periodically is a sign of the continued pressurization underneath this area. But we're lacking all those little smaller ones here, so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. No one can say with certainty that this is going to continue. It may just die off, but I don't think this is just going to go away with this influx of activity we've seen here in the last couple weeks. It's just been abnormally crazy in terms of the multitude and the magnitude of this event here. A lot of pressurization in the center core of this earthquake swarm, fracturing around it, indicating the swelling going on underneath this area. I still don't know about any underwater or undersea seamount measurements in terms of GPS displacements here. The only one I can access is a one seismograph station here on the eastern edge of the Santorini volcano. I don't see anything out here across the Morges or the Colombo volcano region. And there's only one over here that's working, that's actually functionable. Let's see which one was that. I think it was this one up here. There we go. And all these other ones are non-operable. But if we look at the last data coming in here, we see what looks like some major adjustment going on. There's the inflation. This is the vertical displacement right here, 2024. We're at 2025, and you can see in the last month or so a sharp uptick here. So that tells me right there things are swelling underneath the region, but the swelling appears to be, just to the northeast of the Santorini area, with occasional migration to the south here towards that volcano. Overall, I still firmly believe this is magmatic in nature, and whether it leads to a major eruption here near term, or maybe this might die down for a little bit, and then we'll see a return of further influx of magma from below to continue the inflation here. No one knows exactly, right? But that chart shows us that there's been some decent inflation going on. A little bit of eastward movement as well. It's interesting to see that. But nothing changing here yet. A little decline in earthquake activity. But I think I just had one here on the seismograph station, if I recall. Let's see what we got. Yeah, there's one coming in right there. It looks like a 3.6 showing up there on the earthquake 3D globe. Actually, that shows, that's should be right here. 11:14 a.m., so just a few minutes ago. That would match that signature right there. A little smaller quake previous to that. So again, I believe we're reaching maximum pressurization in the area. Eventually, that thicker region down below will give way and allow for some fracturing, continued earthquake activity as the magma continues to find its way up in the region here. That's my observation of what's going on here. So just trying to put two and two together here. You got inflation going on, an unprecedented earthquake swarm. No signs of an eruption yet. The Volcano Discovery website here not mentioning anything on the Santorini area. Just got a couple different volcanoes, Etna and some of the other ones that are always in the news. But nothing there on the Santorini region or the Colombo volcano for now. I'll give a quick glance here at the seismograph station here. There's a couple of those 4s this morning. Quite trying to think if that 3 would be on there. Maybe that one's right there, but we'll continue to watch it here, folks. It's just a waiting game. A little bit quieter today, but don't let your guard down. All right, far as the last 24 hours, largest magnitude out here, 5.3 out in the South Sandwich Trench. That was from yesterday. Far as today goes, a 5-pointer out here in the Banda Sea area, right along the Indonesia Islands region here. So things are somewhat minor to moderate today in terms of earthquake activity globally. Got some movement further up here across the Japan area from yesterday. If we look at the earthquake 3D globe here, it's pretty quiet around Japan today, aside from that 5-pointer. One earthquake way up north here along the Russia area, off the coast of Russia from early this morning, 4.3. Normal, typical clustering going on around the Indonesia Islands area, including that 5-pointer. New Zealand, Fiji area, this whole region looks awfully quiet today, aside from a 4.9, pretty shallow. South America, Middle America Trench, a little bit more active today compared to yesterday. Nothing big, just some 3s and 4s out there. That's common on any given day across that region. All right, let's go ahead and check out the West Coast here, California-wise. Southern California, let's check out the 2.5 map and above. Today, 2.5, Mina, Nevada. 2.7 on the Hayward Fault. That is another fault system there in the San Francisco Bay that's feared and overdue. This one here is a pretty deadly fault system that runs through the East Bay. A lot of highly populated areas here, and the potential for a large quake exists on that one. The percentage is actually quite high here for the Hayward Fault. Low 2.7 on that today. A couple other smaller quakes surrounding that region in a triangle type shape. 3.1 up here across Northern California. Yesterday, this was quite active, man. We've seen a couple 4s up there. Latest a 3.1. That's if they're showing all the smaller quakes. And I I don't see a lot of earthquake activity on the Petrolia station right now. But far as Southern California down south here, nothing above 2.5 is noted. All small microquake activity across the region today. Got a lot of rain coming into this area. But no major earthquake activity to note there for now. Getting a little swarm across western Nevada, indicative of the strain out here along the plate boundary. Some threes up around the Sheldon contiguous area in northern Nevada. Yellowstone National Park, nothing major going on there, but let's go give a quick look here at the recorded seismograph stations here from thisisthithingon.org. That's a website to check out for the layout of the seismograph stations there around Yellowstone National Park. Not a whole lot going on, as you can see here today. Pretty quiet conditions. Some wind events there in the blue from last night. Maybe some outside interference over here. But not a whole lot going on in terms of earthquake activity. Oil fields of Texas and Oklahoma. Yeah, it's a little different story. Some more activity stirring up out here today. Got one way down south here. Kind of curious to see what's out there. Well, it looks like definitely some fault systems out there. This is a complex area of fault systems. I don't see any oil fields out there, any fracking operations that I can see there on the satellite map. Little earthquake, but if you go up north here, this is littered with a lot of these oil fields. Got to zoom in here. There's quite a few that have been erased off the map here due to weather and just general time. But there's some older tanks out here, and bunch over here as well. Some solar farms out there, but let's see what else we got here. Closer to the populated regions. Oil fields galore out here around these earthquakes. Those little checkered boxes that you see, those are a bunch of oil fields. Goodness, right next to one here. So that's very common, unfortunately, out there, but that's the future for the earthquakes there on the map. Texas will always get hit with earthquakes. Jackson, Tennessee, early this morning, a 2.4. That is just outside the New Madrid seismic zone. Looking at the last 30 days here, around the New Madrid seismic zone, shows about 23 earthquakes there in the last 30 days. Nothing big. It's common to see this number here on any given month. An earthquake here or there, just letting us know that this major hazard area is still very much alive. Those earthquakes occurring within that main region that is underneath this area, far as the fracture area goes. Let's see. Hawaii got a 3-pointer out here, a little odd one on the north coast here. 14 miles deep, probably more than likely associated with the strain here on the Pacific Plate. Nothing major going on there across Kilauea Volcano. I believe we're at the pause stage once again after a really short-lived eruption. Let's check out the latest update here that's put out today on Kilauea Volcano. The summit eruption of Kilauea remains paused in Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Another episode is likely within the next 3 days. It's 3 to 6 days. It's been a rinse and repeat cycle here. This next one will be number 10. And let's check out the deformation data, see if we're coming back up. We are. Here's the pause that happened yesterday. Notice a slight uptick here in inflation. Noticed here on the past week, and there's the rinse and repeat cycle that we've been seeing. Inflation followed up by deflation. Deflation, of course, is the eruption stage. Lasts for a short while, and then a few days of inflation. It's a repeat cycle out here. A little interesting, but this will continue until we get some further blockage up at the crater area, and then we'll see a different area of migration for the magma below. But for now, rinse and repeat cycle there at Kilauea Volcano. Space weather activity. Let's check this out real quick. Not a whole lot happening out here as expected. We're looking at a couple different weak areas of sunspots. Really nothing of any interesting regions. All fairly neutral in terms of complexity. We do have an active area out on the northeastern limb of the sun, way out there. Kind of hard to tell exactly how complex it is, but we'll watch that in the coming days as we get a little bit better view into it. Overall flare threat right now, I'm issuing a less than 1% chance for X flare. These guys have 5%. M flare at 40. No major roars there in the forecast, just a little bit of high-speed solar wind stream amplifying the solar aurora conditions out there. All right, Storm Prediction Center here for today's outlook. We got a marginal risk here for some severe weather across the Sacramento Valley, the east side here, associated with this low-pressure system that's come in off the Pacific, bringing us a little bit of rain. I picked up over an inch of rain here overnight. Everything's flooded again. Which is fine by me. I don't have any issues with flooding. But, yeah, a little chance for some tornado activity out there today. Roughly around Yuba City southward into the Sacramento Valley. A little bit of wind, and that's about it. A little 2% chance for some tornado activity across Florida as well. If we look at the next 3 days or so, a little bit more significant risk for some severe weather as we look at Saturday. This weekend looks pretty crazy for some severe weather down in the south. We'll cover that as we get a little bit closer. Excuse me. There's that massive low pressure out there across the west coast. That will continue to bring us some showers and thunderstorms later today. Looks like maybe another system behind that. Little broken system there as we head towards the weekend. There's the severe weather ramping up Saturday and Sunday across the south. After that, a lot of cold air comes back down east of the Rockies. There you have it. Look at these departure from average here. Similar to what we've seen back in January. Maybe 20 to 30 degrees below average. Not below negative or below zero, but below average here. That's a massive cool pool air. It's going to settle there across the country. Not going to last not too long. But for the West Coast, as far as this storm goes, it's, like I say, just about out of here. Another weak one this weekend. And then it looks like things start to dry up a little bit across the West Coast. I'm not quite ready for spring and summer. I know Missy Mimi's here. She's ready for the warm weather, but I wish I could stretch the winter a little bit longer out here. I'm not for sure what's going on with the USGS map here. When it does that, kind of makes me suspicious. Not for sure what's going on. Doesn't want to load the maps right. It's not the internet, I don't think, because that is working, but it's awfully weird when it does that. Of course, I've been having issues with people tampering with my computer remotely somehow. Look at this earthquake up here, 3.6. This is the last 24 hours. Last hour there in the purple, 3.3. So even though this is still just a little bit less active than the last few days, does not mean it's coming to an end. I think if anything, we're just reaching some areas below of pressurization, and then eventually it could further escalate from there. But we'll continue to watch that there across the Santorini, Colombo area, and the rest of those seamounts out there. As far as major close approach asteroids here, we're always discovering new asteroids. Quite a few of these fairly new. Nothing of any significance for now. These are all fairly safe at a safe distance here. A couple millions of miles away. This one's just about a million mile or so from the planet. And even then, that's just a 28-foot size asteroid. Pretty quiet here across this region for now. As far as asteroids go, a little bit of earthquake activity on China Lake there in Southern California. That I don't know what's going on here with the USGS. You guys see that? Could they be doing that as I'm doing the live update? Just kind of make their web page not pop up correctly? Anybody else having that issue? Let's try the Look at that. It's even doing it on Microsoft Edge, so it's not my browser. It's just the USGS site here. Someone's having fun. I don't know. That's so weird. Because everything else is working just fine. The internet's just perfectly fine. There's our West Coast system out here. Look at all that cold air coming in behind that. That's what's going to spark up some instability there and fire up some thunderstorms. I may be on guard here to catch some storms if they do fire up. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, I'm out of here, folks. Have yourself a good day. We'll catch you guys back out here a little bit later on this evening for the Thursday night update. Stay safe out there and be prepared.